And that's why we like to have guys like Dave Kopel on the program. So I am guaranteed not to be the smartest individual on the program. Dave, how you doing tonight, sir?
Good. Thank you very much for all those nice words.
Oh, absolutely. I thought about you. You're sort of our international gun control analyst here at NRA News, and I ran across this story from Cairo. The Daily News Egypt reporting that gun ownership is on the rise in Egypt, and it's because the police nowhere to be found as the revolution was unfolding. People very concerned about their own personal security, about the security of their families and their communities, and what you're seeing are more and more Egyptians becoming gun owners.
That is true. We'll see how long that
is allowed to last.
The legal trend lasts because they're still operating, I believe, under the licensing system that's been around for a long time, and at least pre-revolution, it was an extremely slow licensing process that could easily take over a year or sometimes several years. And obviously, with the pervasive corruption of the Egyptian government, there were plenty of legitimate people who couldn't get permits.
Yeah, and the story does note, quote, not all of the guns people own are necessarily licensed. 33-year-old Mohammed El Nimir says, being part of the neighborhood watch, we had to be armed. My grandfather has a collection of guns, so I took one with me. Now, I wonder, Dave, what the gun control advocates would say about that. Would they think that Mr. El Nimr should be thrown in an Egyptian prison for having an unlicensed firearm as he's walking the neighborhood to protect his family?
Well, certainly Rosie O'Donnell would take that point of view. And one of the points they've been making for decades is that people shouldn't be allowed to have guns for protection.
Mm-hmm.
This was, back when the Brady campaign was riding high, and Sarah Brady was describing her ideal gun control system, and Jim Brady said the same thing. And, they've got their ancestors in that organization who, consistently said that it's okay for people to have guns with stringently licensed for sports, but people should not be allowed to protect themselves with guns.
Yeah, and Dave, to that end, I wonder if I could ask you about something, because we've seen news today that the Obama administration perhaps wants to arm the rebels in Libya. At the United Nations, they've been working on this arms trade treaty for a number of years, and as I understand it, one of the provisions in this arms trade treaty that the global gun control movement would like to see is a ban on supplying quote-unquote non-state actors with small arms. Is that right?
That's exactly right, and that's been the key thing, and that was when John Bolton was Horatio at the Bridge for Freedom at the 2001 UN conference. That was where the line, and that was the crucial line in the sand he drew, and he just would not give on that. And they said, well, maybe we'll put it in the preamble, and he understood how we got our freedom, which was people saying that they were the new state, but obviously they were not recognized by any other governments, at least initially. And he believed that freedom fighters have a fundamental human right to arms, a more important right than recreational gun ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Although that's a nice thing to have. But the most important reason guns exist is that so in the worst possible scenarios, people can collectively defend their freedom, and that's what is going on in Libya now. At least for some of the people, appear to be fighting for genuine freedom, and obviously that's what happened in our American Revolution. That's what happened in the Warsaw Ghetto, and that's been the story in many places all over the world.
So, Dave, do you think we'll actually see the Obama administration come out and say that this provision that the global gun control movement wants is irrational and unrealistic, and they will object to it? Or do you think this is something that the administration will try to sidestep and avoid talking about?
Let me give the best case scenario is that the weight of opinion, partly because of the political situation in the United States, which this radio show and the NRA members are so responsible for, is that let's cut out all this, global crackdown on law-abiding gun owners, and let's do an arms trade treaty that is actually just about the people like Viktor Bout, the Russian who was taking arms from, say, former Warsaw Pact nation armories and brokering them to warlords in Africa and things like that. And it's possible that we might see a much narrower arms trade treaty than the groups like IANSA and the rest have been pushing for.
All right. Well,
that's the best thing. I wouldn't expect the president to come out and say that publicly, but it's very possible if that's the weight of sort of the center of gravity of United Nations opinion, that the U.S. delegation would not stand in opposition to that.
All right. Well, I will keep my fingers crossed. Mr. Kopel, again, I appreciate you coming on the program, sir, and I look forward to seeing you in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You're going to make it out this year, right?
Oh, you bet. I'm among other things, I'm speaking at the National Firearms Law Seminar, so all you attorneys, make sure to come to that because you get a full day's worth of continuing legal education credits.
Fantastic. Dave, thank you so much, sir. Have a great night.
Thanks a lot.
Dave Kopel, Research Director at the Independence Institute with us.